alongside ICDC to do enforcement in 3 countries that have laws. You have China, Vietnam, and Cambodia. So we were 2 visits to each country each, and we discovered how difficult it is, and also looking at the list of laws, how many countries actually have laws and have no mechanism to enforce it. It's not a lack of wanting to do it. In some countries it is, but many countries it is not. It's just the mechanisms. You can say that, you know, there's the red light and you're not supposed to go through it, but you still need to give the instructions to the policeman to say you're entitled to stop the person who goes through the red light. These kind of things. So we've had quite a lot of need to build up new expertise. We're leaving for Cambodia on Sunday to do training of inspectors. Now, inspectors have some habit of training quality control, labeling, and all that. But the code is a lot more than that. How do you get inspectors into hospitals, looking at what health workers are doing, looking at what kind of incentives are about, and that kind of thing. Just very quickly, as an incidental on enforcement, it's not, of course, only countries, although for countries it's a whole new ballgame for us, but also for companies, and I was glad that Ilka mentioned the even flow thing, because this is one way I think we can work together. Ilka kicked it off saying, you cannot use our conference for promotion because you're not code compliant. And even flow went ahead and became code compliant through NABA, which is North American transit group, and Infrac Health. And the story is on the back of our legal update. So you can see that, because it's easy. It starts as an easy thing, but it took many months of getting even flow to agree to changes. Hopefully others will follow. Let's do it the same way, or a faster way if you can. Monitoring the code. I do have difficulty seeing sometimes the WABA value added, but here's one area where many of you, most of you, are in touch with health workers daily, are in touch with mothers daily. This is where you see the violations. We don't get hardly anything from any of the groups, you know. So we need evidence on code violations. We don't have any more money to do monitoring in countries and pay for it. That's how we used to get a lot of results. So we need to rely on voluntary contributions. There is a very easy format, 1 page. Just say where, what, who, and when did it happen. Which company, what brand, and send in the information. That way we can build up our publications, our database, and give feedback to everybody. So advocacy, we've noticed in many countries, and I've heard it mentioned here, so I won't go into it in depth, is that mothers don't breastfeed just because we tell them to. There's a lot more other things. There is the promotion, of course, by the commercial side, which is very heavy, and maybe we should change our attitude to telling mothers what to do by saying, this is the risk if you do not breastfeed, you know. And that was advocated at the Innocenti meeting in 2005. Betty Sturken has done a very nice publication on the risks of formula feeding. I think we really need to get messages out in different ways, in different circumstances, on the risks of bottle feeding. Well, yeah, the whole China episode, it's come to us, you know, that the first reaction is to look for a safe formula, a safer formula. And what happens is the multinationals had a heyday. They had to import a lot of stock from other countries in order to sell in China, where many of the mothers had gone for the cheaper Chinese formula and can't really afford that very high-priced international formula. I mean, multinationals, Abbott, Nestle, Lee Johnson, they're all there. And nobody talked about breastfeeding. So that's, you know, just another message that came back. And it took us more than a week to get a press release out and say, hey, wait a minute, there's more to this than a better formula or a safer formula. The report has just been circulated to all of you. I'll just make a very few mentions there. In the report, I do talk a little bit about the value added. I think we all work in either individual or organizational capacity to value add for the whole breastfeeding network worldwide, including WABA, and it's very hard to specify that sometimes. We've done a lot of training. Our traveling this year has taken us around the world. It's only been possible because of external funding. We have no funding of our own. We just don't have time to fundraise. A very interesting, I think, just a little story is PNG. Do you know what PNG means? Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea was the first country to put feeding bottles on prescription. Before there was a code, 1978. Now it doesn't work anymore. And they've asked us to come in and help, and we're happy to do so. We have one first visit. We'll go again this month and rewrite the code for them. And an interesting part of that is following on Pamela's presentation on HIV. The second priority point under the HIV framework is get the code in place. So our second visit to PNG will actually be funded out of HIV money, which is nice. Good.